Today we're going to be transforming this piece of utility furniture. I always start by removing the hardware and I label it, especially with older pieces because hinges and things don't like going to different places. I then give it a thorough cleaning with just liquid and hot water. Now I'm wrapping the drawers because I use stripper and I don't want them getting into inside the drawers because these are absolutely beautiful, so there's no need for me to do anything. Now when you're layering on your stripper, make sure that you give it a nice thick layer, because if you don't it'll dry out and then you have to just add more anyway. The Panther stripper that I use works really quickly. I don't particularly have an awful lot of patience, so it's just perfect for me. So just use a normal wallpaper scraper off all the excess top coat and stripper, and then just give it a wipe back. I then take wire wool and white spirits, give it a good scrub in the direction of the grain. I continued with the top. Now the grain runs in the different directions, so make sure when you're scraping to try and keep it in the direction of the grain. Here I'm using some more stripper and it's a soft wire brush just to get any of the finish that I haven't managed to with the scraper. This is great if you've got paint, if it's a painted surface and you're trying to get paint out of the wood grain. Then just wipe it off and do the wire wool, white spirits just to give it a clean and ready to go. Now I'm using white spirits to wipe it down and not water, because water raises the wood grain. Today I had two spectators. There's Victor, my cat, but also Little Crow. He was waiting patiently for something to eat, so I decided to give him his, lunch. Now it's on to sanding. Not my favourite part of any piece that I do, but a necessary evil. I use my orbital sander for most things. You can take off a lot of material really quickly with it, but when you're working with veneer you need to turn it down because you'll just go straight through it. You really do need to be careful. My life would have been a lot easier had I been able to take these doors off, but it was a hinging mechanism I'd never seen before, and I had no idea how to take them apart, so I made myself a lot of extra work. Now, more sanding. Hand sanding now, because I did not want to go through the veneer. It was very obvious that somebody else had tried to refinish this at one point, so there were bits that the veneer had been blown through, so I really needed to be very careful with this. Now, here I'm attaching a bit of masking tape to the door because I'm sanding the piece of wood underneath it, and I don't want me to scratch the door in any way because the grain runs in a different direction. It would be really obvious. Now, all sanding done, let's have a look at this top drawer. Covered with that horrible green felt stuff. Came off quite well, but I'm just using some sticky stuff remover to remove any excess glue left behind. Now back to Little Crow for another little snack. At this point I'm having to feed him little and often. So there were some quite evident scratches in the top, so again hand sanding to make sure that I don't go through the veneer. There was a huge scratch that ran across the grain, so I'm going to try and get rid of it by hand sanding. If I can't, I might have to disguise it later on. I'm using squishy foam sanding pads. These are brilliant and they're not expensive at all. I actually got a pack from Temu for like £4, and it had all the different grits that I normally use. Sanding something properly does take a long time. Now here I'm adding some bleach to this mark. I've tried sanding it, it's not getting any lighter, I'm not able to remove it, so I'm hoping that the bleach will make it lighter and therefore less obvious. So I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Voodoo Gel Stain. This is instead of a paint wash, so I can eliminate some of the yellows of the natural colour of this veneer that's on top here. So it seems easy enough to use, just spread it on and wipe off the excess. Always remember to wipe in the direction of the grain. I've just finished masking up the inside of this piece. I like having nice clean lines whether I'm using a stain, a whitewash or paint. It just makes it look more professional, and I mean it's not very often you're going to be taking your drawers out of your piece of furniture, but if you do, at least it's going to look nice on the inside. You can see here I'm using a little artist brush to make sure that none of that gel stain gathers in the corners, and then just carrying on with the gel stain kind of wash. Here it is, all covered in that lovely Voodoo gel stain, ready for the next part. As you can see, it has eliminated the yellow. Here I've just covered this piece of wood in the Voodoo gel stain, and I'm seeing what type of finish I would like on it. Here I'm trialling the neutral wax and then the dark wax, which I'm doing just now. And then I thought I would go on to try some stains. So this is, well, the next one is Georgian Oak. It's one of my favourite ones, it's got a nice warm tone. The last one I'm using here is a Danish oil. So I did go for the Georgian Oak on top of the Voodoo gel stain. So to apply the Georgian Oak wood stain, just brush it in the direction of the wood grain, and then when off the excess, you just continue to apply a layer until you get to the colour that you want. I really like the combination of these two stains. You know, if you wanted to, you could just leave the Voodoo stain and just have a kind of driftwood sort of look, but I preferred the way the wood grain looked when I applied the other stain. Now I'm applying a top coat to the top. I'm using a foam roller. Now I know with the foam roller you can get bubbles, but as long as you don't do it too quickly, the bubbles do disappear. Now we're ready for my favourite bit, creating the design. Now this piece was for the Ivy Lane competition, June 2025. So I wanted to do more than just refurbish or restore a piece of furniture. So my favourite thing is stripes, so I thought I would add some stripes. Creating a pattern like this is very easy, as long as you're just careful. You can either measure the gap between the stripes, or you can use another piece of masking tape as a space holder and then take it off so you've got the same gap all the time. I wanted different sizes of gaps and different sizes of stripes. As it's a mid-century modern piece, I want to use a 70s style colour. So I'm using New Colours paint, Honey Yellow. I'll be using a couple of the New Colours paints on this piece, and they were lovely enough to send me a selection of their colours, and they are absolutely brilliant paints. Next new colour paint that I've used is the Charcoal Grey, in a lovely dark colour but not quite black. So on the thinner stripes I'm using a thin artist brush. Now if you can see there, I've taken the tape right round the corners. I do this because I feel, and that's only my opinion, that it just adds a little bit more to the piece. While I'm painting this, I will tell you a bit about Beautify Furniture. Now, it was a London-based company between 1896 and 1982 who specialised in crafting wooden dining suites. This would have been a dining set, a sideboard for a dining set, a buffet, as you will. So they were particularly known for their Art Deco and mid-century modern styles, and gained recognition for its high-quality furniture. So it is a lovely piece of furniture with a rich history. You can see that again I'm using the Voodoo Gel stain. I'm not just using paints on this, I'm also using the different stains as well so that the wood grain can shine through. As I'm making this up as I go along, I've added some stripes onto one of the top drawers, and also having some of the stripes running up and over the top of the piece. So here's me just carrying on using the stains or paints to create stripes again. No particular pattern, trying to make it as random as possible. Although it's more difficult than you'd think to make something random, not patterned, because you always fall back into making a pattern. I've kept the same colours throughout the piece, and the fact that the colours are being put on in a random order helps, because I've got different stripes in different places. I decided to run only some of the stripes down the three kind of slanted drawers, instead of doing them exactly the same as that top drawer, just for a bit of contrast, but allowing the grain to do the talking. I totally forgot to say that when I've done all my taping, make sure that it's thoroughly rubbed down. You can seal the tape in two ways. You can use water and not a soap, a lightly wet cloth, and wipe over the tape. That seals it. Or you can use a top coat, a spray-on lacquer. I'm sanding the legs to remove any deep scratches, and I'm going to give them a coat of the Charcoal Grey, the New Colours paint. I'm taping the brass caps on the bottom of these legs so that I don't paint over them at all. I am a very messy painter. This is only blemish in the internal part of this piece, so I'm using some high grit paper to sand it off. Here's a reminder of how this piece started out, and here it is finished. I love this piece so much. I haven't sold it, I haven't even put it up for sale yet, because I really want to keep it. Now you see when I open the drawer, you've got the stripes going over the top of the drawer, and I just think it just adds a little something to it. It shows you've taken the time and care to finish it properly. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and if you wish to, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, it is free, and it really helps the person's channel that you're watching. So thank you very much for spending these 15 minutes with me, and I hope to see you again.